So very good afternoon on our Link for Skills Advisory Board lecture series. Today we have a little bit different lecture because it's connected to the launch of our book and Ukrainian female war migrants mobilizing resources for prospective social remittances. And my colleagues who are co-authors of this book, Dr. Ivana Kiliushik and Emil Hrul, are here with us in the room. And there are two wonderful discussants, Professor Irina Lapshina from Ukrainian Catholic University and Dr. Valentina Zasadzko from Ukrainian Catholic University as well. But I will introduce you in a moment much wider. So we gather here to continue Horizon Europe Link for Skills Advisory Board lecture series. And just to remind you that the project is global and Ukraine is one of the partners of the project. So this lecture we decided to devote to Ukraine. The project is about skill shortages, flowing skills between countries. One of the migration skill corridors is between Ukraine and Poland, next to other corridors like Ghana, Germany, Filipinos, Poland, Morocco, Netherlands. So Ukraine is very important, but one of partners of the project. Yes, and it's both fundamental research and policy aspects about how to fill in skill shortages without brain drain of countries of origin. Yes, that's the biggest issue we want to deal with, that next to also the various processes that we know that migration is not the only process impacting on the changes of the labor market, because there are aging populations in the EU dramatically quickly, and age dividend in Africa, for instance, with very young populations. Yeah, there is also very big need for reskilling, upskilling of existing populations, existing workers, but also there is automation, AI impacting on the labor market, and in the project we discuss all that. So this series, what we have already now 7th lecture, I believe, within the series, is to promote knowledge exchange, address key global issues, strengthen networks, drive policy impact, and inspire debate. And today we decided with the book teaser to talk about Ukrainian female war migrants as a special wave of migration from Ukraine to Poland in the situation of war. And I introduced already authors, but I would like to say a little bit more about our wonderful discussant. Professor Irina Lapshina is research associate, used to be research associate at South East European Studies, University of Oxford. She is lecturer and professor at the Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv, who is our Link for Skills partner, connected with the University of Osnabrück. A Link for Skills partner. She holds PhD international economics, and she was the senior researcher at Compass at the University of Oxford, with the leading the ground, does immigration enforcement matter. She was a British Academy grant holder, do diaspora matter, and national expert in other EU framework programs. And Dr. Valentina Zasadzko, who is executive director of School of Public Management at Ukrainian Catholic University since 2016, with academic background, PhD and Master in International Economic Relations, Lviv Academy of Commerce, expert at the Center for Social and Economic Studies with the initiative, senior researcher at the National Institute for Strategic Studies, research collaborator in Norwegian Ukrainian projects as well. So Valentina is connecting with us from Lviv. Irina is connecting from Germany, but they will have also their say about the locations from which they are connecting with us. As we just have freshly baked the book, which is extremely nice feeling when you open the box and you see the book, and Irina had today this experience. We just want to share two snippets we created for the purpose of this book, which a couple of days ago were recorded in Kiev and in Warsaw, introducing the book. So if I'm able to connect quickly, I hope it would be very nice to share.
Okay, wait, Izabela.
Yeah.
Because you need to share full screen, not just.
Yeah, but I need to share also the voice and. Yes. Wait, I need to do. The technology is not always, as you know, on our side. And then?
No, wait.
No, it's not. No. Ah, you see, I thought that I am kind of smooth with that.
Okay, once again from the meeting. Share. Wait. Here. No, not this one.
Yeah.
Can.
Yeah. No, it's not. We just do one snippet because it would be too complicated. I see it.
Yeah, just to share and share. Wait, and here. This mode.
This.
Oh no. Screen. First one. First one. And now. Yeah. We can see.
Unfortunately, we don't hear anything.
Yeah, it was some technical.
It was technical problem. Sorry, but you saw latest pictures from
here in the.
It was not visible.
Yeah.
It was not visible. Okay, but have you seen it yourself? The snippet?
What was visible?
It was visible, we couldn't hear, but there were subtitles, and we could also.
But you see, we wanted to make a kind of snappy snippet, but then it didn't work. But can you now see the screen?
Yeah.
Were you sharing
But
your
not
screen?
Yes, I was sharing my screen, but
You were supposed to select an option called share with sound.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it should work everything. Let's come back. Technology that does not necessarily.
Trzeba ponownie zmienić I wybrać tylko okno. Przestać.
This is too complicated. You see, I wanted to make fun because of the hybrid mode is absolutely. What shall I select? This
Window, not
Screen. Oh, there you have it.
but not presentation. I wanted presentation.
Oh.
No, I wanted presentation. I want to come back to the presentation.
Maybe I go to technical office. What is this?
No, this is not.
Much more.
I see that I made more problems than anyway. I try to share now the presentation. I'm sorry for this. I got stressed right now, which was not in a plan.
But we watched it already on social media. We have seen
Yeah,
and watched.
Use that. Yeah, I think it's okay right now, isn't it? Can you see the lecture? So we are not going to go to Warsaw snippet. You can watch it on social media because now it's getting too
can see.
complicated. I'm sorry. So the aims of the book is to reveal hidden capacities of particularly Ukrainian female war migrants, then document a historical momentum of the escalation of the war, but also specific moment of Polish society who received Ukrainian female war migrants, about which we are going also to talk at the end of our lecture, and also to illuminate resource mobilization pathways of Ukrainian female war migrants, because at the end they mobilize lots of resources, highlight social remittances potential for rebuilding Ukraine as bringing not money, but bringing skills, bringing norms, values, ideas back to Ukrainian societies. When we don't know that, but we know that transnational space operates and is populated and furnished with Ukrainian women very well. And now I give the floor to Ivanka, who will bring us stages of Ukrainian migration with a kind of historical overview with a gender perspective.
Yeah, very shortly, because we can speak about this topic for a long time. So there are 6 stages of Ukrainian migration. First, it was economic migration, started in the late 19th century, early 20th century. Second one, it was political forced migration during the interval period. Third one, it was forced migration after the Second World War. Next slide. Fourth stages, it's economic migration. It's after the time Ukrainian claim its independence. Fifth one, it's economic and forced migration. It's after the Revolution of Dignity and when Russian war started on the east of Ukraine. And the sixth one, it's forced migration after the full-scale Russian invasion. We described all these 6 stages in our book, but also we look at the places of women within these stages. So female migration yet under-researched social phenomenon in Ukrainian history. So still we can research this and divided our research projects to this topic. In early migration stages, women were mainly seen as companions to men, husbands or family members. And that's why we don't know a lot about this time, and male migration narratives was dominated in the discourse. Yeah, and after the gaining independence, there was a noticeable rise of women migration, so independently. So after this time, women emerged as active agents in migration processes. But yes, in our study, we focused on the most recent stage of Ukrainian migration caused by full-scale Russian invasion, which has taken a distinctly female face. So the next slide, just a few words. It will be everything very shortly. You can read more in our book. So just to describe a little bit statistically this last stage of Ukrainian migration, because the full-scale Russian invasion led to the largest refugee crisis in Europe after since World War II, and according to the UNHCR operational data portal, Until September 2024, there were almost 7 million of Ukrainians were migrants worldwide, and more than 6 million residing in Europe. First of all, in Germany and Poland, we already discussed today that before the escalation of war, in Poland already lived more than 1 million Ukrainians, migrants, but after the escalation, also another 1 million was registered under the temporary protection. And 66% of these migrants are women. Mostly of them has higher education, and majority of them had no prior migration experiences. So it was their first one because they connected to the Ukrainian middle class before, so they even didn't think about migration before. Under the special law in Poland, they gained access to the labor market, also healthcare and different social benefits, but the main sources of their livelihood in Poland, it's paid employment. So nearly 78% of them are active at the labor market in Poland, and they mostly work in the manufacturing, but also in administrative and support services, also transport and storage, and accommodation and food services. A lot of them employed in roles that didn't matching their qualification. So there are a lot of situations where women work under their qualification, but every year it's improved.
Yeah. So you see this wave of refugee migration, war migration is very unique and rich in resources because they are female, well-educated, rather young. So we decided to take our approach of the book to their resources, but not only resources as you might think about money, because that was not at stake. We asked this question, but rather in a kind of background, but with what kind of human capital, both formal certificates, degrees, diploma they are coming, but as well what kind of informal capital they have, thinking about their what they learned, their soft skills and so on, and what is the impact of the war situation, migration on this capital as well. We also studied social mobility, catching the last job before they left for Poland, and the first job in Poland, and then the last job upon interview, upon questionnaire. And then we also, another resource was psychological capital. So we studied their resilience, optimism, self-efficacy, hope, and optimism, reflexivity. And we used the shortest available scale for personality traits. Then social capital, we studied their social contacts, perceived social support, which turned to be very important scale, measurement scale, and civic engagement. Also some feature, some resource which started boosting because of the war context. And then also economic capital in the sense of financial literacy, their savings, how they are making it, how do they think at all about their pension, the future, which we can be also an indicator for something else. And we developed a very unique research survey tool, which is called My Migration Dashboard. Ivanka, please type the website address that you can go through. It's ongoing project of our research center, particularly developed for migrants, and with the aim initially for female war migrants to help them to position, to find their place in the labor market by helping to assess their resources. Because it's not just a survey, it's a kind of dashboard with feedback. So you can receive feedback about each capital, and then at the end, you receive the PDF report, which you can, for instance, include to your CV. So because we saw that this need for employment counseling, for finding their place in the labor market upon arrival is very important, that was a kind of trigger for us to develop this completely new approach to survey. It got ethical approval, and it's now operating in 3 languages, and it has the next edition from intra-EU, which is called My Mobility. Because the book is about social remittances, which means that everything which you can transfer next to money, which is mostly about, for us, skills, but also resources, we identified 4 stages: identification, acquisition, and enhancement of resources. So what resources migrants have and what they acquire and enhance along the way, utilization of these resources, how migrants make use of resources in their destination, transformation of resources into capitals, why migrants gain from their efforts in a destination, and mobilization of resources and potential remittances. Because in fact, for the book, we haven't studied them back in Kiev. That's our latest research, which is now ongoing. That's why Ivanka and Emil were in Kiev, and we wanted to share the snippet with you. But in fact, what we captured in the book, there were women who were in Poland. So I'm not going to go through these findings, but just to tell you that the group reflected the general statistics with high education level, labor market engagement. So nearly the whole population was employed before arrival. Varied social mobility, rather low person job fit. So it means that they were underutilized. They had parenting role, and they among the informal human capital, cognitive skills were the strongest. We also studied psychological capital. We showed us at what psychological conditions they are, and they had high scores on optimism, high confidence in self-efficacy, resilience, and hope. So all 4 traits score high, reflecting emotional and mental strength. That was also something to build on, which showed us how rich in resources this group we studied is. Then social capital, perceived social support, social contact frequency, peer comparison engagement, and civic engagement, which also showed something that it's growing. And economic capital, we ask about financial standing, saving duration, uncertainty and vulnerability in the labor market stability, and long-term planning. So you see the very complex, but just to give you an idea, with this initial research, there was in the book, there are more advanced analysis, how resourceful this group is. And now, what factors might determine Ukrainian women's decision to remain in Poland? Now, who gets the floor?
Yeah. Within... Co mam włączyć? Dźwięk.
Yes, because we have Jabra here. We are in a hybrid mode, so sorry that we are a little bit awkward, but we try to converge with the technical requirements.
So within post-migration practices that Ukrainian adopt are remaining in Poland, so in mobility, returning to Ukraine, living between 2 countries, and secondary migration. Because of the time, I will not discuss them in detail. You have those migration practices in slides, so you can read that also after the presentation. There are many reasons behind undertaking those migration practices, and we in detail discuss them in our chapters in the book. I will just briefly add a few key points. That youngest and oldest migrants are more open to returning. Midlife working age individuals tend to stay longer. Women show a stronger aspiration to return than men. And those who have partners remain in Ukraine are more likely to return than those who, for example, have new relationships abroad. The longer the stay, the weaker the intentions to return, and the more satisfaction abroad, the less return aspiration because of the job, for example. And motivation to return are also motivated by safety, stability, housing, and first of all, children education factors or children safety. So next slide maybe.
Yeah.
In the next.
Yep.
The living between two countries. This is very interesting practice because those who don't know will they return or remain in Poland, they most of all they adopt that practice because they have always opportunity to return when they, for example, staying in Poland, and many of them are opening businesses or something else in Poland and want to make it into countries. So this is a very interesting liminality stage of the migration. And the last one, my slide. And because of the openness of European countries that is offering assistance to Ukrainian migrants, opportunities to, for example, job opportunities or else, and Ukrainian women always seeking the well-being of their children, that practice of secondary migration to international migration is also very on the top in their practices of post-migration practices. Thank you.
Great, and we identified also prospective social remittances. The whole chapter is devoted to that, so just some points. Resilience as knowledge, transferring emotional endurance and problem-solving mindset to post-war Ukraine was unveiled. Civic potential, migrants bring back want to bring back democratic values and participatory attitudes, skills in transition, practical know-how from Polish labor market can seek new job practices and work ethics, gender norm reframing, exposure to more egalitarian gender roles, especially for those who are in Warsaw, as big metropole may shift expectation in family and work life, social support templates, models of mutual aid and community engagement abroad could reshape local solidarities, and hope and future orientation, migrant psychological capital may inspire future focus, rebuilding approaches, and especially our interviewees mentioned that because psychological help was so available widely in Poland, and it is not a taboo in Poland anymore. If you need help, you just seek for help. That's the attitude to be brought, to be transferred also to Ukraine. And just to conclude, before we give the floor to our wonderful discussants, we have more general conclusion that Poland was ready just in time for reception of Ukrainian refugees. Decades of economic growth, EU integration and migration reforms meant that Poland could offer Ukrainian female war migrants a level of support unthinkable in earlier times. But solidarity sometimes came wrapped in paternalism, exposing the limits of even well-intentioned hospitality. So this was very clear, you know, also it showed how to help, yes? So to a certain degree, they complained about this post-colonial attitudes in aid that especially people from diaspora who engaged said, yes, but we want to be involved as well. And we know also how to help, so don't be that paternalistic about that. Yeah, the diaspora rose to the challenge. That's what we talked, because before our lecture we had community meeting here at Koźmiński University, because at Koźmiński University the first reception point was set up for Warsaw, and we as academic community came together and we just discussed in part of our community meeting the role of Ukrainian diaspora, that Ukrainian communities in Poland mobilized quickly, creating grassroots support systems, civic networks, and a strong foundation for mutual aid, serving as both a lifetime for newcomers and a kind of launchpad for future social remittances. And still, the diaspora and organizations serving diaspora are very active. War disrupted careers, but built capacities. So paradoxically, war broke careers, employment trajectories, sometimes hardly to be rebuilt abroad. But then, while formal qualification often stalled at the border, women migrants developed informal human capital like adaptability, resilience, and leadership. Many emerged more confident and independent. Their soft skills sharpened by crisis. So this was the whole paradox of this situation, which we try to capture in the book. Migration also is a kind of transformation journey. The journey to Poland became more than a just relocation. It was a redefinition of self, work, and community. Migration under pressure triggered a process of capital conversion that retooled survival into strength, a layered reality. Despite encouraging signs of integration and empowerment, systemic obstacles remain, like qualification recognitions, particularly in regulated professions like medical professions. A supportive context, strong community, and individual resilience form a kind of powerful triad, but they don't erase the structural challenge Ukrainian women still face, which is still, after 3 years and 3 months, the situation of the incredible war. So thank you from our sides, from the author sides, and now we would like to invite our discussants to take the floor and to be our critical friends. So I don't know who will start, Irina or Valentina.
Valentina, do you want to start maybe from the Ukrainian perspective? Because you are on the ground, you are in Ukraine right now, and I somehow thought that I could maybe continue giving more host countries' perspectives.
Okay, so dear colleagues and guests, it is a great honor for me to take part in this discussion of this timely and important book. I think that this book is not just a scholarly contribution. It gives to a women, it gives voices to a women who have experienced war and displacement. So I would like to stress several points which I admitted when I read this book. The first one is a human perspective and new academic lens. From my perspective, this book focuses on those who are often marginalized in migration studies. And the authors show these women not merely as recipients of aid, but as agents of transformation. And the authors said, I would like to read some sentences, war can take everything from people, but not what they have in their minds, how they build relationships, and how they support each other. So I think this human and empowering lens is one of the book's most significant contribution. Also, I would like to strengthen such point as a capital and resource mobilization in times of war, which was very nicely described in this book. The authors go beyond and to the conversational integration narrative and analyze the types of capital women carry and develop. And they show us 4 types: human capital, psychological capital, social capital, and economical capital. So it's from my perspective, it is very important and very interesting. And one chapter is the most interesting for me. This chapter is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Post-migration mobility of Ukrainian war migrants. And this chapter is particularly powerful as for me, as it explores the post-migration trajectories and imagines futures of Ukrainian women. Through in-depth interviews, the authors reveal how the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, becomes almost unanswerable in the context of war-related uncertainty. And I would like to read. Most of our interviewees expressed uncertainty regarding decisions about their further in mobility. They perceive too many unknowns in their lives, making it challenging to plan in the long term. And the common job interview question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, becomes impossible to answer. The chapter also captures the existential tension of being here while emotionally and socially tied to home. For some, mobility is a result of growth. For others, it is a burden. The war only means that you don't know what tomorrow will bring. You live as if in today. You are thankful for what you have today. I think that this book is a valuable academic resource and a contribution to the wider public conversation. It challenges us to rethink Ukrainian migration and maybe to see women not only as vulnerable, but as capable. And I would like to say thank you to authors for this rich and sensitive work.
Thank you very, very much.
Side. Yeah.
Thank you. It was great to hear. Thank you for all your insights. Before we go to the open floor and talk, we have also Irina, Professor Irina Lapshina with us. Please, Irina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and our congratulations again with this, as Isa said, freshly baked contribution. It's really significant and important contribution, I believe, in gender, refugees, and migration studies. It's probably already more than 20 years that the concept of social remittances was developed, highlighting that migrants do not only transfer money, but also ideas and practices. And the moving away from the narrow focus on monetary remittances was not only a groundbreaking step toward a more comprehensive understanding of remittances, it also raised great hopes regarding the transformative potential these transfers bear, as an emerging literature has shown that migrants transfer, for example, ideas of liberal democracy, zero tolerance to corruption, and gender equality. Despite this enthusiasm, the literature on social remittances is still very limited, especially on the conceptual side. Therefore, this book, which offers a conceptual recalibration with empirical evidence from Poland and Ukraine, is very timely and important contribution to gender, refugee, and conflict studies. As I said already in my endorsement of this book, it offers insightful history, analysis, and understanding of the experience of Ukrainian women in Poland, adapting a very humane perspective. I guess Valentina also mentioned this humane perspective, and this is really valuable in this book. Authors carefully examined the different forms of capital resources possessed by forced migrants, human, psychological, social, and economic. And I really appreciate this three-level framework that you applied that reveals the structural, societal, and individual dimensions that shape the migration experiences of forced migrants. Migration catalyzes significant psychological growth, fostering resilience and self-reflexivity. I found it extremely interesting also to find a lot of arguments confirming the thesis that Ukrainian forced migrants really are in need of psychological support. I came across it in my own fieldwork in Germany, and I also want to bring maybe now to our discussion the aspect of receiving countries, as aspects of destinations, so-called. So maybe for the future research, it would be also interesting for you to see what stands behind engagement in social activism of Ukrainian migrants in Poland and other receiving countries. Because there was a chapter where you thoroughly described the social engagement, support of diaspora organizations. But I found it also interesting to see what is behind this engagement and commitment. And here I would recommend to you to familiarize yourself with the recently published extremely interesting article by Yulia Belyakova and Olena Mikhailenko with the title Transforming Survivor Guilt into Social Activism, Ukrainian Women Refugees in Germany. It was just published in Migration and Diversity in 2025. And here, authors talk about survivor guilt as the most prominent emotional challenges. It manifesting as guilt for escaping war, not contributing to Ukraine's defense, or living in safety abroad. And this guilt often intensifies through feeling of betrayal, helplessness, and urge to compensate for perceived privilege. So despite all this hardship, many women have responded through social activism. And I guess this piece is obviously based on empirics in Germany, but it would be very similar to Polish case. So the Ukrainian survivor guilt creates a unique socio-emotional dynamic that fosters activism and mutual transformation, ultimately strengthening support for Ukraine and European democracy. And talking about host countries' perspectives, there is another important factor that adds to the psychological pressure. So I now will maybe continue talking about this psychological factor and mental well-being. It is certain perceptions, often idealized constructions in public discourse, and certain expectations from Ukrainian female refugees in the host countries. I'm sure we all know the context. We know that the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine triggered one of the largest refugee crises in contemporary Europe. And Poland has received almost 1 million Ukrainian refugees, and majority of them are women. So 48% of the war migrants have higher education. And here I would like also to refer another academic piece of Leslie Pruitt and Antje Misbach, analyzing German discourse on displaced Ukrainians through fictional film Mary Poppins. So they specifically examined how Ukrainians are constructed in the public discourse and how these constructions both reflect and contribute to receptive responses to Ukrainians seeking safety. And I found also it's extremely interesting and valuable to deconstruct this migration discourse and certain perceptions that reflect the imaginations of Ukrainian refugees in host countries. So they identify 5 key characteristics that appear in the media depictions of displaced Ukrainian women. They are familiar, educated, hardworking, grateful, and welcome. They concluded that the ideal female refugee would be something akin to Mary Poppins. She arrives unexpectedly, brings little baggage, is well-spoken, well-mannered, and able to fit into her host's lives, leaving only positive impacts. She is, in her own words, practically perfect in every way. So on one hand, such reporting may admirably aim to humanize refugees, but it can also lead to unrealistic expectations. And focusing on their potential for providing economic or cultural benefits can obscure the challenges they face as humans seeking shelter from the war. Portrayals such as this are ultimately harmful to all displaced people. By uplifting one group, they cast a shadow on those who do not fit the bill, but they also raise expectations of the contributions refugees can make. So those who are unable to fit into this practically perfect category for a variety of reasons, be they economic, professional, or cultural, may find themselves excluded. Likewise, idealized constructions of displaced Ukrainian women may also work against them, obscuring the important challenges they face, such as the slow and difficult process of getting Ukrainian qualifications recognized in the host countries. So I would say that there is some extra pressure when we see discourse and perception on displaced Ukrainians. And these constructions, they both can be, on one hand, they can be indeed positive, but on the other hand, there is an extra pressure and expectations that host societies have towards Ukrainian women refugees. So now getting back to social remittances, and I think it's all related. we know that now the Ukrainian government has an interest and promotes the return of its citizens. There was a newly created, not already newly, but there's a Ministry of National Unity created in Ukraine. And the idea of the ministry to return and support its citizens. And on the other hand, several host countries which have by now invested significantly in the integration, sustainable integration of Ukrainians to compensate for own labor force shortages, may well have an interest in retaining a certain proportion of Ukrainians. And as it rightly said in your book, that on one hand, the same skills and resources can also encourage migrants to settle in host countries, but or further integrate into the EU, as these capitals increase their employability, resilience, and social support networks in destinations. On the other hand, we could also talk that potential conflict of interest between hosting countries and Ukraine, which may arise between all these actors with regard to migrating, staying, returning, or moving to a third country, can be solved partly with the help of social remittances. So there is a big uncertainty about numbers, how many Ukrainians will return. There is a big uncertainty about aspirations and migration intentions, but there is relatively big certainty that social remittances having place already and will continue be transferred to Ukraine, even though if some Ukrainian refugees decide to stay in the host country. And I guess this is also can be discussed how actually social remittances can contribute to solving this potential conflict between three main actors: host countries, home countries, and the migrant itself. And I would stop here and invite you for discussion.
Great, it was wonderful. Thank you, Irina, for this very insightful comment and also spotting the relevant literature. Ivanka and Emil want to reply to that, but before we open the floor, we have one more surprise for you, because Svetlana is with us, who participated in our book. Yes, and she would like to share a little bit her testimonial with us. She was before on the community meeting, and now she is with us. So Svetlana, we would like to give you a floor.
Thank you for invitation. And actually,
can you hear Svetlana, because she's sitting a little bit at the distance? She's well heard. Okay.
I already found some my quotations in the book, and in fact, I should tell that it's really used, and those conclusions that were made in the book from these conclusions, from these quotes from another women participants speeches, and it's really interesting to read. To be honest, I would be very happy to have maybe for some time to read. I would like to respond. May I start from the end, from the last this point that was tackled by Irina about the tendency and about this conflict of interests, about the topic of return. This question, it is now is discussed only in the dimensions of labor market, of opportunity for professional growing, about settlements and housing for those who lost their houses, whose houses were destroyed in different regions. But the question of children is underestimated, and a lot of researches that I obviously observed, some data collections or some theses were published. At this moment, we really see this level of deep integration of us here in guest countries, but we also see the integration of our children, and we underestimate our children also as a factor which will be very influential in the making the decision of return. And unfortunately, only now, when 3.5 years of the war, the Ministry of Education finally gives some clear instructions how to connect different systems of education, when a lot of families just took off documents from Ukrainian schools, unfortunately. And this factor will be, seems to me, quite crucial taking the decisions. And it's very good to have this special Ministry of Unity, but it would be very good also to this ministry, last Ministry of Education, about statistics, how many families took their documents and their children from Ukrainian system of education just because of these unclear procedures. And then, yeah, there is a very big risk as for me. Sorry that I started from the another point. I started from the maybe absolutely not related to this particular point, but it is as for me, it's really quite hot issues that should be researched, that should be
discussed,
considered as really crucial and influential in the perspective of return or remain or stay.
But can you share with because there's another audience we have, what you did with your resources when you came to Poland, what happened with them, and what do you do in transnational space?
And then coming to the question actually, I should start. Yes, and I came to Poland not only right after the war started, because firstly, in the first day, we took the decision to leave. I'm from Kiev, and I live in Kiev, very close to the war factory, one of the strategic objects, and that is why in the morning of 24th, it was clear that we are in the zone, in the area of very high risk to be attacked, because in the morning, like it's 6 o'clock in the morning already, there was kind of list of these factories that should be attacked very, very soon, like they planned to attack those units. And we left with family, with my husband and my daughter, we left to Western Ukraine, to Carpathian area. And then we had an intention to stay all together as much as we could stay. Actually, no plans to go abroad.
But it's also interesting what you took with you from Kyiv. I remember that from the interview.
Yeah. I took my rushnik, wedding rushnik, and it was.
You are from the wedding towel.
Yeah, wedding towel. Yeah. And it was surprisingly easy to take, because before, like the week before, my daughter had some lesson, something that I don't remember for what reason, but I took it, and it was like on some on the top somewhere. I took photos, family photos, and what was interesting, and my daughter likes to tell about this, like, sorry, when I told her that we should go, we should leave, there were there is a war, and pack your things, and she packed all her school books to her school bag. No, put them away, take your toys. And she was, oh, my mama tells me not to take my books.
That something serious is happening.
And we told her, listen, we have everything online. Take whatever you want just for yourself. Your toys, some important things for you. What do you want to take? And my husband then he was much more panicked, in panic than I was then, and he took all the documents, and he told, listen, don't take many material stuff, pictures, some really spiritual with some special emotional things, but do it like you will never. There is a likelihood that you will never come here anymore, and it was really tough.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We can come back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, it's okay. I can continue. For sure, it's emotional.
Of course, yeah.
And then during almost 30 hours, we went to Western Ukraine. And it was the huge traffic on roads. And we went not on this Zhytomyr way because there were also Russian troops and there were already. Yeah. And finally, when we came to Yaremsha, couple of days for sure, we should like reflect on what happened to realize that it's our new reality. And very soon I understood that as a psychologist, I should get ready to be involved into this humanitarian response in the way what actually psychologists can do. And I started to participate in different webinars on trauma response, on first psychological aid. There were really a lot of activities, and different academic institutions provided such lectures, webinars again. And for sure, I was actively involved into the kind of logistical activity to help to other people to find the way, to find the families, to find the new place where to go. And especially from eastern part of Ukraine, and cooperating with my foreign colleagues when I called them to help to coordinate, to redirect to someone. I remember that I had a list of volunteers who helped to move to Poland, who helped to move to Germany and to Lithuania, it seems to me, because I remember that one of my friends was using this some of those contacts went to Lithuania. And actually the decision, and still we haven't planned to move abroad at all, and even having quite extended experience of working abroad. I cooperated with the Council of Europe many years as a trainer, and I traveled a lot, so as for me it wouldn't be kind of challenge to move abroad, but we wanted to stay with the family. And we were sure that it's not for so long, like maybe, okay, 1 month, 2 months, but no longer, like 9th of May, the Victory Day in Russia will be kind of full stop of this, of the war, but we have what we have now. And in the end of April, I went to Warsaw to the international conference, and there I felt how I am traumatized, and staying all this time in relatively safety place. I felt that it's not safety in general. In fact, it's not the whole safety. And it's much better for me to be more effective. I felt that I could be more effective if I would come somewhere. And so we decided to move Poland. And then actually, yes, I really was looking for some engagement. Where can I do? Where can I be useful? Where can I contribute my experience and background, some especially new skills, newly obtained skills, and so this this is how I met, and I came to the Ukrainian house, to the club of Ukrainian women. And yes, what actually I told in this informal part, that my first working activity in Poland was a trainer of international humanitarian standards, and I applied to that position like maybe in May before coming to Warsaw, and after this process of recruitment, I started to cooperate with a British NGO, delivering a lot of webinars on humanitarian standards, different like general humanitarian standards, and some particular on management of refugee camps, providing social and humanitarian aid, and so it was really for me very valuable to be engaged into the like the whole system of help assistance to Ukraine, to Ukrainian refugees in Poland, to Ukrainian organizations, non-governmental organizations remaining in Ukraine, and especially then when all the civil society sector switched into the humanitarian response, then it was really a very any kind of assistance was required in training and just some involvement into coordination and direction of some humanitarian assistance or redirection of people.
Yeah, let's hold on for now. Maybe people have questions to you as well, because time is running extremely quickly. So I suggest that we open the floor and the questions can be directed to our participants, Svetlana, who's here with us, to our discussants, Irina and Valentina, and to the co-authors. So please, the floor is yours. Before we will reply, definitely we have lots of on our heads right now, on our minds to reply, but please, if you want to ask a question, please do. Yeah, Hartfried.
Yeah, thank you for the presentations and also for this, I would say, very timely book, an important book given the current times we are in. But for today, it's a link for skills lecture. So I want to make a link between this book and link for skills. This is a question for Emil and Ivanka. And so the book, beautiful documents, the different forms of capital women have, how they acquire new skills and knowledge. But there is, of course, the promise that it can be a great potential for, as you are arguing, be agents in post-war reconstruction. But listening to Emil, you also have the feeling that they are key agents in dealing and solving the skill shortages in Poland, not in Ukraine. Yes. So what do you think there? And Emil argues that, of course, there is what factors are relevant for people to stay, and what factors are relevant for still a kind of transnational commuting. But return is, of course, extremely difficult, and you see that people are being rooted. So the question is, will they not be the key agents of dealing for skill shortages in Poland, especially also at the medium skill level, because you see they start doing low skilled work, but now many of them are turning to more skilled work. I don't know who wants to start with answering, Ivanka or Emil?
Yeah, I can start.
But it's compliments for the book, to tell the truth. Well, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe first of all, I will have some to share some information with Irina, because it's very interesting with another research topics that you shared with us. And I just wanted to add that in April, we submitted an article to the Central and Eastern European Migration Review, CEMR, for a special issue. and it's titled Neither Here Nor There, the Vicious Circle of Laminality Among Ukrainian Forced Migrants in Poland. And in this article, we described all these things. I mean, this existential crisis, identity crisis, and also belonging crisis, because women neither there, neither here, because it's really, really difficult topic, yes. And we described this, and we hope that soon it will be published. So we also will share with this with researchers. And about the question of Gottfried, yeah, it's really difficult, and we also really carefully described this in the book. But it's very interesting. Maybe I will share with my experience, recent experience, because I returned back from Kyiv yesterday, where I conducted research with Ukrainian women that came back to Ukraine after 1 year, 2 years, and it's very interesting because it's really women that have a lot of different capitals and resources, and now they also have a lot of connections with Polish society. And yeah, they really tried to maybe it's not really at this moment clear about the changes. Still, it's about potential, but it's very interesting to hear about their different ideas. I mean, that ideas that also come from the cooperation with different colleagues, organizations in Poland, and how they try to transfer some good practices to the Ukraine. So it's really difficult, but yes, some return it already. Yes, some
practice it. Yes,
remain in Poland. In this last
and some are transnational.
Yeah, transnational. We also I want to in the future research this transnational patterns, and that's why I will contact you, Gottfried.
Yes, and Mitra at the MISCO. Yes.
Yes.
You're most welcome, because it's very important what you're arguing. Indeed, it's very important research. Yes. So I'll encourage you to engage in this kind of research, but you have to be careful. Yes.
Of course, of course. Yeah. So in this last chapter, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Yes, it's the question that we hear in the job interview. Yes, and that's why Valentina read this part. That is really difficult. For example, we imagine this situation that some like Svetlana come to the interview in the Poland, and they and interviewer asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And it's very difficult question, because first of all, women think about the space where I will be in 5 years, because I don't know, because war is still continuing, and it's not possible to answer this question. So it's about some, you know, normal situation, but abnormal for this woman because of their experiences.
Emil, would you like to step in? No? Any questions from the room? So now the virtual audience, please hold on. Any questions in the room? Also, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually very curious regarding the long term. I mean, you've been talking about where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I think also maybe from a host perspective, where does Poland, you know, see themselves fitting in the greater scheme of the war, you know, and how it has affected Ukrainian citizens? Where does Poland stand, and how far do you anticipate the support will extend? Like you rightfully mentioned, it's something maybe people thought would last a few weeks, a few months, but now it has extended so far. And what does that mean long term? Let's say if supposedly the war doesn't end hypothetically for another 10 years. What does this mean for those Ukrainians who have no intentions of going back? And I'm also of the understanding, I'm not sure about this, but I heard that the men are not easily allowed to leave the country.
No.
So what are at all?
At all, because they're of the conscription to the army.
My husband even can't come to us for a couple of days.
Yeah, and one woman is coming back because of the family and because their children rise without father.
Yeah. So I'm also curious to understand what are the implications as well in terms of that.
That's a very good question, very related to Link for Skills, I would say, project, especially to migration skill corridors, where we interview stakeholders, including high officials of the Polish ministries, and questioning them about migration policy, migration strategy. And indeed, we learned from Ukrainian Polish case that they want to kind of create free movement space between Ukraine and Poland, and to let people decide what they want to do. So if they want to be transnational, let them do that. If they want to come back, we are obliged to Ukrainian government to let them come back, because they will be rebuilding the country or sustaining the country during the war, because the country needs to also move on. The only issue is to retain them in Poland in order for them not to move to Germany. So that's also the argument for Irina, yes, that because they want them here in this free space. So they are not particular governmental programs of reskilling, upskilling, restorations of skill, but there are many programs at the meso and micro level. So there were lots of subsidies from the government to do that, but never as a kind of a top-down policy of the government. So I think in that it's kind of smart that this, because it's rather easy to commute between countries, especially for economic migrants. Maybe it's a little bit more complicated because states need to have entrusted promise to be employed, but it's still easier than for other third country nationals to the EU. So it's very interesting. So because Poland's policy was employment from day one, while Germany policy towards Ukrainian temporary protected migrants were settlement from day one with social benefits. So it was settlement and employment, two different policies, although you can imagine that benefits are much higher in Germany. There's more because it's advanced welfare state. So the interesting picture comes up from this Link for Skills study, and I think that you ask very relevant questions, including the fact that the Polish government facilitates Department Ministry of Unity with hubs and various initiatives with kind of touch base in Poland for diaspora. So there's lots of collaborations going on at the very ministerial level or even departmental unit level of the exchanges with the kind of, I would say, triple win. We are not calling that like that, but in fact, it is a kind of hidden triple win, that the win is for Polish economy, because we have 2 million Ukrainians in the market, although not men, so construction, manufacturing suffer, because there was a different people came, women who fill in different sectors, definitely. The second win is for Ukraine, to help them to restore the country or to sustain the country as it is now, and for a migrant herself, yes, to reskill, upskill, restore skills, yeah, and empower. So many things at the non-governmental third sector level was made. So it's a kind of recent discovery we made with the Link for Skills project.
Yeah, we can discuss this issue, but in the end, migrants will choose by themselves.
Yes, exactly. But it depends what. I think that the returns will be proportionate to the scale of damage. As simple as that. Yeah. If there won't be infrastructure, their homes are destroyed, and second thing, children embedded in curricula in different countries, then it would mean that either the decision will be postponed or there will be simply transnational traveling between Ukraine and Poland. So that's why transnational studies
We
first.
thought about returning this year, and
Your family,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And?
we thought like we had kind of a temporary solution, like to not to come back fully return, like to start some to combine living in two countries,
Not
like
definitely
till
return.
till winter, but to bring back to the Ukrainian educational system data, because from the different from the next year programs will be more different, more different Polish and Ukrainian one, and we really thought about like restarting our life in Kiev, starting from September, October, and like keeping the apartment here, maybe coming here for winter, but last attacks were
Discourage you.
in our district, and on Monday the last attack destroyed partly in our houses windows of the part of our house, and the previous one they were 300 meters from the house, and it's getting
scary.
It's getting more and more scary and dangerous for us. And now my husband is very young. No, you will stay there at least 1 year more.
But if you came back, imagine, what would you bring now? Because you were interviewed a year ago or a year and a half ago, yes? So there's a year and a half more time spent in your hosting society. What would you bring now? If you
Actually,
think
my first impression from Poland was not first impression. Like what I was thinking about what to bring was social system and social care system about for families and senior people. And now, recently, last week, I took part in the training for facilitators for intergenerational game, combining seniors with teenagers and facilitating games on climate changes, supporting them in some discussions and common actions. And I really like these intergenerational activities. My daughter plays here in the orchestra and in some jazz band, which is also międzypokoleniowe, intergenerational. When she plays flute, when she plays with quite old guys who plays guitar, and she is the youngest member of the orchestra. This is kind of activities I would like, and even talk to my colleagues from Kharkiv, from the Institute of Social Policy of Regions, that we have concrete plans. Maybe we will start like very soon to introduce some kind of activities. Also, and about senior people, I also would like to have some ideas to develop and to implement probably in the near future, and especially I had my private quite sad experience, because before the new year my mother has died and she left alone. We brought her from Zaporizhia to Kiev, but in fact it was dangerous as well, and I have last messages from her that it is very scary. It is very good. And I see here how senior people, older people are treated, and I really think about how to introduce such a system in Ukraine with a lack of resources. In fact, we don't have a lot of resources for social care, in fact, but we should find them, and where to find how to to raise funds from some non-governmental sources, And I also, and actually I mentioned music. I really enjoy how popular in Poland is a matters musical activities. And for us in Ukrainian society, when we speak about resilience, when we speak about mental well-being, to provide some spaces for some cultural actions, some musical actions for those just for free time for those people who are very stressed.
Yeah, just to get together.
Yeah, and several initiatives in social sector I really want to bring and to implement very soon. Like not like when I will come. You have plans to start very quickly, maybe this autumn, to develop some projects, some grants, and I also have a lot to share from schools, from school life. I like how the system of mental care about for children, for teachers. I see that there is real system in schools that we really miss it. We really miss mechanisms of support teachers, for example, when they are stressed, when they should go after this sleepless night to be very them in their traumatic experience. And I see that we could take a lot, like to introduce in some algorithms, some procedures.
Yeah.
Even not like I think it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's just a question of procedures and mechanisms.
Yeah, I think that time is getting scarce, but we can, if you, Irina, wanted to reply, and if anyone wants to take the floor, please feel free. Last minutes of our meeting. Irina, the floor is yours.
Maybe just to follow up link of Gottfried and to link our skills and remittances. I was wondering, and maybe I first ask Ivanka and Emil and then Svetlana, whether you came across in your research, and I know that it was not your research question, but maybe you did come across, what actually Ukrainians, apart from skills and diversity, what do they bring to Poland in your case? I mean, I know the case of Germany and that would bring some digitalization and reducement of bureaucracy and all the rest, but did you come across what do Ukrainian female bring to Polish context? And apart from skills and diversity,
Yes, and about this is our book, because by this book we want to once again maybe to encourage to discuss, to show that women from Ukraine that came to Poland have a lot of different resources and capitals, and a lot of them really engage in different projects, like Svetlana already here in Warsaw, and they also do their investments locally here, but we don't really describe this in this way, I think, in our book.
As reverse social remittances, you mean? Reverse social remittances. That we haven't bring it exactly like that, but here and there we discuss that. So above all, the resources they bring, but also they bring their not only skills, but also their ideas. In many instances, they can apply them here because there are more opportunities for getting seed funding, for setting up businesses, for development free of charge, for various kinds of training, coaching, mentoring sessions, language courses, not only in Polish, but also in English. That not only language courses to communicate, but to communicate professionally. Yeah, so it's also very important. And they are important aspects. So I would say, like in our last slide, that paradoxically it's a warm migration, but it works as kind of co-transformation for both societies. For Polish societies, because of the scale, so it's a massive scale which makes difference for specific communities, cities, districts, because we see these women, they are our neighbors, they are, you know, running small businesses, breakfast cafe, whatever, with croissant, and we go there and encounter each other because they are our colleagues at university, because they are, you know, our friends. So I think that is co-transformational for both sides, and that's why it's worth researching social remittances both ways. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we share a lot of civilizational experience. Of course, we have difficult history between each other. That's also something very important. And many women said that it's something, this historical remittances need to be sorted out, especially for moving forward with this co-transformational, co-creational development, I would say, of the joint space. So I think that there will be more to research, especially these transnational spaces, more experience to collect, and at the end of the day, for humans to flourish, yeah, because that's the most important message.
Definitely, we will address this question when we will study the transnational practices.
Yeah, which is at the core. It used to be at the core of Hotrid's research agenda. Okay, so I think we are at the end of our time. We are here from 2:30 because we had this community meeting, which was really, really nice and interesting. So altogether, the date, I feel really, really rich in re-experiencing all this again, and rereading the book through your eyes, which is always extremely interesting for the author. Because, you know, books are like children, you know, at some point you think, you know, you gave a birth. Yeah, the book was inside of you. Yes, you gave a birth, but then the children live on their own. And the book started their own living, their own life on their own. And only these kind of meetings of rereading the book through others' eyes show you who is your child. Yeah, so that's, I think this metaphor very powerful, to tell you the truth, because you really carry the book in you for some time. Yeah, we carried this book for a year and a half at least. Yeah, nearly from the beginning. After this is, yeah, I think so, because my idea came up with the book for the first anniversary of the outbreak of the war. Yeah, so I couldn't sleep. I had headache at night, and then I came to team of Crush. Let's write a book, because we need to memorize, because this is a kind of historical moment. We have a privilege. It's paradoxical privilege, but we have a privilege to experience it. So thank you very much, especially to our wonderful discussants. I'm glad that you managed to connect and you took time to read the book. We meant it to be very short and small book, but it turned to be kind of substantial book, I would say, when I see it in print. So take care about our baby, spread the word, and we promise to send the copy to Ukrainian Catholic University Library. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for reading the book.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. Take care.